Good evening. I'm Minister Louis Jerome Armstrong. I'm going to bring a lecture to you that deal with President Donald Trump and Bible prophecy. Most of the lectures that I have done so far on the internet and YouTube have came from this book, Louis Jerome Armstrong, by Louis Jerome Armstrong, Judgment of America, and also some of the facts and some of the things came out of the other book, Black Nostradamus Prophecy of American Future. There's a third book that's on its way called The Great Secrets. And that is a very important book. And you're going to see things like this, what I'm giving now, coming from the new book. Now, most people don't know sacred geometry and know that the Bible is a book of mythology. And that's very important. I want to get something I had here. Oh, it's over here. They don't know that the Bible is a book of mythology. You have a lot of allegorical writings in there. What we're going to deal from something, a genre that been used many years ago, and it's something that the church took away because it was giving too much information. It's called Hebrew typology. And what we're going to see on the Hebrew typology that you have something they call tetragrammaton. That's what they call the name of God. What is that saying? Is that God language is and it's called, it's saying Yahweh. I would like to give you what this word really is meaning, but I'm going to hold that back to another day. What this YHWH mean. And most people, when they hear it, they're going to be like, whoa, I knew that, but I didn't know that's what it means. See, there is no name to God, as they want to say, a name to God. There's title because God too big for a name. And I'll deal with that later. But now we want to deal with President Donald Trump and Bible prophecy. Most people don't know that every president is somewhere in mythology. And we have to see that. Donald Trump is in mythology. The last 4 presidents is very easy to find in mythology, with Donald Trump being the 4th one. Now, the reason I say that is because if you look over here, you're going to see Bill Clinton from 2000 to 2001. He was the last one before the millennium. He was in a little bit of the first of this millennium, but very little. You got George W. Bush. Now, the reason why this George W. Bush, I had to put Clinton because he went from 2000 to 2001, and we got a 21 period of time that have a special, from Genesis to Revelation, they talk about a prophecy. Inside most of the sacred writings, there's a prophecy inside of them of 21 years. So I put Bill Clinton there because he was from 2000 to 2001. But the main characters of that prophecy, of that 21 years, is going to be George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump. Now, also in this, you'll see me put George W. Bush, 2001, 2009, and you'll see Luke 11:33, Luke 11:31 through 32. Now, the reason I say Luke 11:33 is because you're going to see a prophecy that deal with, I'm going to give his name. And you got to see the language that's behind that prophecy that deal with the men of Iraq going to war with our nation, the Saudi Arabia conflicts with our nation, etc., etc. And George W. Bush was a part of that. He was the president of the nation, or Your Excellency of the United States, at the time when this conflict started. Now, also, you got Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, and you see him from 2009 to 2017. Now, 1 Samuel 8:31, 1 Samuel 8 through 31st chapter is going to tell you about Barack Obama, because Barack Obama carried the characteristics of Saul. Now, you got many scholars maybe that rebuke that and say, well, I don't think that. That don't matter. I'm teaching from Hebrew typology, and I could break every one of these events down and every one of these characters down to that particular character. When you're dealing with Hebrew typology, you have to understand what it's all about before anyone make any certain decisions on what they think about it. Hebrew typology is something that's handed down by God, not by man, by God. And what is done is that what God will do, he will get a prophet at a certain time, and he will write something or write some information, like we see in the Old Testament, etc. Then he'll send another prophet at another time. Like when Jesus said the Son of Man coming, another prophet at another time. And when that prophet come, that prophet could read anything that past prophet have written, and he gonna be able to know how to understand it at a certain time of his life. And you can't hide nothing from him, because God done put it inside his DNA to understand and to discern what the past prophets are saying. And this is where Hebrew typology come in. And most people, you can't get everybody to know how to use Hebrew typology properly. And that's what's important. Now, going back to Donald Trump, we see right here, Donald Trump, 2017, and then I got a line 2021. And you will see me with a question mark. Why? Because Saul's son had history show, or the writing shows Saul's son having 2 years in his term. Now, that fit with prophecy, but I have to say this. 2 years, 2 could stand for 2 turns as well. But I believe in this area it's about 2 years. But right now, we're going to see that in the sacred geometry, it shows 2 years as well. But I got to go back and say, 2 years don't necessarily mean it's 2 years. It could be 2 terms. Now, and I got Donald Trump from 2017, which he's in the seat right now, and I say 2021 with a question mark. We're going to do it like that. 2 Samuel 2, second chapter, 2 Samuel, second chapter, 8 through 5, and then you're going to go from 2 Samuel, 2nd chapter, 8, all the way to the 5th chapter, 3 through 4. And it's going to show you about Saul's son, which Saul represents Barack Obama in mythology, and Saul's son, and why would I call Donald Trump Saul's son? We got to remember something. In any king's kingdoms, everybody but his mother and his father is his son and his daughters. That's how a king operates. That's what it is. Anybody in his kingdom is his sons and his daughters. Now, we have to understand that. Most people don't understand that from that point of view. No, they're not his blood son and blood daughters. He is the king, so he is the shepherd of his kingdom. So they are his sons and his daughters, no matter how old they are. Now, Donald Trump lived in America. Barack Obama is Your Excellency of America. And so that means that he is the son to Barack Obama. Now, and this is going to show. Now, we're going to deal with this and go over here. Now, I got it. The son of Saul, and it's his name, Ishbosheth. So we got his name here, and we're going to see a man was to be president of what? When we see the man, mean a man was to be president after, okay, and the reason I put this here, you got this after Saul, and that's Obama. That's Saul Obama. When we deal with Saul, we deal with Saul / Obama. And this man that was to be president after him is this character that is playing his life out in President Donald Trump. So I got to give him respect. And a lot of times you will read about this character here in the Bible, and it's mythology. It's Hebrew typology. So you don't read every line and thing and say, well, he did this, he did that. No, it's really not for you to do. It's for a skilled initiate to look in there and find out what it's really saying and teach you what it's really saying. Because every word, so you have to see what these, Orion was one of them. One of the early church fathers, and he mentioned something about it, and he talked about it. I'm going to see a little quote Orion said. I hope I can see this. Orion talked about, okay, and he was talking about the different phases of understanding the Word of God. And most people thought that, or think that, all the prophecies and all the enigmatic writings and understanding is all in books like Daniel and Revelation and Isaiah. And he was saying, hey, these things, the same type of things that's in the gospel. And you have to understand that. So you got to be able to translate it properly to know that these things flow all the way through the Bible, not in one area. And this is very important. And when you begin to see that, you begin to see this character here, and you know that King James had the Bible compiled, or commissioned the Bible to be compiled, because King James was a black nobility of the tribe of Judah. And most people don't know that this guy was a black nobility of the tribe of Judah. And we have to study about these individuals, not just go by what somebody said and overlook it. Read, and you're understanding things. And he was concerned about his kingdom, and this Bible was representing the peoples or the events that's going to occur in his kingdom. And many people are not aware of this. Now, the stories in the Holy Bible is about the history of events that will occur in and around this nation of America. Now, most people say, what? I never seen that. The story about Abraham and his seed, and counting the stars, and the animals, they call the heifer, the goat, and the ram, and the two doves, is about America. But unless you know or been taught how to translate it, you wouldn't know. The story about Jonah is about America. The story about Joseph and the king and the Pharaoh and all this other stuff is about America. The story about Moses and the events that are going to happen in that land is about America. The story about Joseph is about America. And most people don't know this because they literally translate the Bible. They literally teach the Bible. And that's not how the Bible is supposed to be taught. And this is why I call this a new Christianity. It's something that's been used long ago that have not been used in the last so many hundreds of years. And you need to know that to be able to translate the Bible properly. And the reason why I can translate what I do, because King James knew this. And he made his literary scholars put it in that type of writing. The interpretation had to be this for you to truly understand what the Bible says. Because he was a black nobility of the tribe of Judah. And we have to understand that. Even the queen today see herself as a Hebrew of the tribe of Judah. And we have to understand all these things and know exactly what the Bible is trying to say to us. Now, before the paradigm shift, there is to be 21 years, and I talk about the 21 years of events that is seen all through the Holy Bible. You're going to see it in Genesis, and I mentioned about Genesis 15, 8 through 1. Genesis chapter 41. You also see it in Genesis 15, 5 through 6, Genesis 15, 13 through 16, Genesis chapter 41, 42, Pharaoh's dream, Exodus 8 through 8 chapter, the 12th chapter, and Revelation 8 through 11 chapter. All these things is going to be pointing to prophecies that's going to happen within that 21-year period of time. And we have to understand that. Now, if I say Donald Trump is in prophecy, then he must fit. Now, sometimes for you to get a more clear understanding of what I'm showing you, you have to look at some previous lectures, how it showed Barack Obama and how you do his sacred geometry. Now, why I say that, and why would I say Donald Trump had to be the next president of the United States of America, and nobody was going to change that. The universe called for that to be so. I don't care how many men was behind the scene making this happen. They only did what God permitted to be done. Good peoples and bad peoples are in a position or in a place because God permit things to be done. And we got to see that. Now, I'm not looking at him as a bad person by no means, but I'm just saying God permit good and bad to occur the way that he chooses to make the whole thing work out the way he wanted it to be because we're living in a hologram. And we have to understand this. Now, Donald J. Trump, and if you're going to do sacred geometry to find out, will this man, was he to win at this time? You will see it. Now, this is something that the church don't know that is Bible. This is Bible. When Abraham was told to count the stars, this is what took place. And he said, count the stars if you can. Now, why would God ask Abraham, count the stars if you can? He told him count the stars if you can because Abraham was in Egypt. He learned the things of the Egyptians. He knew the sacred geometry. So by him knowing the sacred geometry, the whole question was, have you got further enough, Abraham? Because you wasn't born in it. You came here, so have you got far enough to know this? And God knew that he knew it. So it wasn't that. Even Moses knew it. And you see Moses, they say Moses was responsible for making sure those books was written. Now, let's deal with sacred geometry. In it, you're dealing with several things. Sacred geometry, you're going to deal with gematria, English gematria. You're going to deal with the golden ratio. You're going to deal with the name and birth, date of birth of the person. Now, we got this, and I didn't put the English gematria up here because they are numbers from A to N and from M to Z. And you need to know that, and then you put the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then come from the other direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then it'll determine and tell you which letter, what number value go to each letter. And that's how you'll see it. Now, I'm going to deal with Donald Trump. Donald, the D is 4, O is 2, N is 1, A is 1, L is 2, D is 4. That's Donald. You draw your line, you got 14. John, you got 4 for the J, 0, O is 2, H is 6, N is 1. Draw a line, you got 13. These numbers are going to be added up later, okay? T is 7, R is 5, U is 6, M is 1, P is 3. You draw a line, 21. Okay, 22, I'm sorry, 22. This is a very important number. We're going to get at this as another time. But this name with this number is extremely important. It's like putting Prince there. It's like Louis XIV or using his name as L-E-W-I-S, 21. You will get pi out of this when you divide 7 into it. It's very important in any one name. He was born in June, but June is not important. The date, the 14 is important. So you got 14, 13, 22, 14. That's going to give you 63. Now, what you're going to do with that, your golden ratio is right here. 1.618. You divide 1.618 and 63, and you get 38.936959. Now, we're not going to go with 6 decimals. It's very important to go only 6 decimals. Now, you can start in the beginning. A lot of times I like to start in the beginning, but since I'm teaching, I'm going to just start here. And I'll tell you later why it's best to start in the beginning and then go this way, that way. And I'm going to do it this time. 6 and 9 is 15. 9 and 3 is 12. 9 and 5 is 14. Now, what we're going to do with this, we're going to take 1946, the date of birth, and we're going to move it over here. The first whole number, 38. We got 38. We're going to get 1984. 1984 got to be important a year in Donald Trump's life, okay? Now we're going to move 1984 over here. We need to get the decimals. We're going to go with 12. The numbers go to at 12. That's 1996, 1994. And we're going to keep this number, 1984. 1984 got to go up here in all these, okay? Now, 1984 and 14 is 1998. 1984 and 15 is 1999. Now, this won't take us. This take us the first part of his career, or first part of his life, and he started building himself up and etc. And then we're going to go and look at the history behind each one of these dates to see that these dates are very important in Donald Trump's life. Now, we're going to go to the next phase. The next phase, now we got 63. Here, we're not going to divide the golden ratio into his name number. We're going to go 63. And we're going to use the golden ratio, but we're not going to put 1.618. We're going to put 1618. And you're going to get 1, you got 6, you got 8, You got 6 and 1 is 7. You got 8 and 1 is 9. And you're going to end up having these numbers. 1, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, what you're going to do, you're going to take his date of birth like you did up here, and you're going to put 63 there, which you got from this number here. Now, this is the number of this name, Gordon's name. This is the number when you divide the golden ratio into his name number. But we're not going to do that. We're doing something different because we need to know where he stands at this particular time of human history. Now, you got 1946, his date of birth, times 63, his number of his name, and you got 2009. Over here, you got that 1 there, you got 1990, mean 2009, plus, and this number going to do the same up here. Once you get this number, you're going to do the same up here. 2009, and you're going to go here, 2009 plus 1, 2010, 2009 plus 6, you got that 6, 2015, 2009 plus 7, you got 6 and 1 is 2016, 2009 plus that 8 right there is 2017, then you got 2009 plus 8 and 1 is 9, is 2019. Now I want you to see this. This is very important. Now, how we're going to do it, we're going to deal with history. Go on the internet, run this name, run his name, or a history of his life, and you will see exactly what I'm showing you. Now, because it's very important to know the history that goes behind the number of the individual. There we go. Now, 1984 was very important because of what happened. This was Donald Trump. Everybody knows he's famous for this Trump Tower. Okay, in 56th Street, on 56th Street. This is his time for this. This is the time when he boasts how much money he was making. Now you got to remember, this is one part of his career, and this is another part of his career. This part is about him making money, and we know Donald Trump was making money. He was into making money. 1956, okay, Howard Stern gave an interview, and he talked about certain things, and this is the time he dealing with the beauty contest, and he really showed his little butt and said stuff, but this is the time he dealing with the beauty contest. Okay, he was on Howard Stern, he didn't say something good about the winner and stuff like that, and he got caught being Donald Trump, okay, because they're talking about how much she had and all this other nonsense, but this is when he was involved in that. Okay, 1990, 98, you got him giving an interview with People magazine and showing his things. He talked about Republicans and how dumb the Republican was. So I don't know what's wrong with the Republican not realizing the history of this guy, but yet he supposed to have been president, so he used them in order to be a springboard to what he did to accomplish. So, you know, but he said certain things, and I guess he changed his ways about it, etc. 1999, you're going to have Donald Trump, and they're going to tell about, I'm very pro-choice. This is where he's going to start getting into trying to tell the people his opinion in the political, on the political platform. You're going to start seeing this going to sway itself over in here. And we got to see that. And he talked about pro-choice. He talked about gay marriage in the military and all this stuff. He started giving interviews, talking about certain things like that. You can see he was setting himself up for this time, this part of his career. Now, 2009, Donald Trump was still, he was giving, see, most people got to understand what Donald Trump did and how this thing played out. Donald Trump was giving Barack Obama high remarks at this time. He was setting his stage for his platform. Over here in 2010, we see that Ford magazine, or Ford established Donald Trump worth was $2.4 million. He was getting himself sought up so he could walk in the White House and tell you, look, I can make money, I can fix your problems. This is basically where he's coming from. Now, next you're going to see 2015. Now, this is self-explanatory. Anybody that followed Donald Trump for you. career. This is when he said he's going to run for the presidency. This is when he started showing people that I am here now. I'm coming for the White House. Now, what's important? The next year, now, these years are what we call sparks. This is when they are at their finest. Now, the thing about Donald Trump, nobody was going to beat Donald Trump. Now, people say, well, he wasn't politically correct. He didn't have to be politically correct. Donald Trump was out there. When he talk about the handicapped people, child, all that, reporter, whatever. You know, it might have wasn't his best moment, but Donald Trump was at a role where no matter what you said, you weren't going to knock him down. It's like when people try to knock Barack Obama down when he was at his spot, just like when he had his spot. When they came in with Reverend Rice and with the Farrakhan thing, nothing they could do to knock him off there because it was his year. It was that spot. He was going to the White House. Donald Trump showed 2015, 16, 17, and 18. That means he had a role with the energy or the spark of his life showing you that who was going to whoop him. Nobody was sparking like this. Nobody in the election was sparking like this. Rubio's spark was in 2010. He didn't have a spark like this. None of them. Ben Carson didn't have a spot like this. The lady that was running, she didn't have a spot like this. The CEO running, Bush didn't have a spot like this. Take these people's name and use sacred geometry like this and see exactly what's going on. This the only one of the candidates that had this spot. Now, I got to give credit to Hillary now. 2016, she had a spot. And what did she do? She won the Democratic nomination because she had the spark. And that's why she rose up above all the other candidates in the Democratic Party because of this. But Donald Trump had a spark, and that's why he won the Republican nominee. But Hillary Clinton didn't have a spark in 2017, so that's why Donald Trump had the advantage in sacred geometry than her. And also, he was the son of Saul, which is the son of Obama. Hillary is a lady. And that's one reason why. And other means, being in America, But that's this here. If Hillary would have had this here and had this here, she would have been there. But it wasn't for Hillary. It was for President Donald Trump. And most people never knew this, never understood this. They don't know that this stuff comes right out of the Bible. The ministers never been taught this. This has been known by the gatekeepers. This has been known by the ones of the secret orders. They already know what time it is. And that's why you see them, they got electoral college in place. Because they know who they're going to put in there. They're not going to put somebody in there that don't supposed to be in there. This nation that we have, this nation is a experiment. This nation is built on sacred geometry. Look at the back of your dollar bill. Look at the 12 stars that's on the star in the back with the circle around it. That's counting the stars. That's counting the stars. And counting the stars, you got 13 stars. You go in 13 places in the Fibonacci sequence. That's 144. That means that circle is 144,000 numbers to it. So if it got 144,000 numbers to it, you divide 360 prophetic days into 144. That will give you 400 years. This nation is dealing with a 400-year prophecy that is found in the writing of Abraham, Genesis. In the writing of Abraham, where we at? I got it. I wrote it here somewhere. Yeah. Writing of Abraham, Genesis, the 15th chapter. And we need to know this stuff because this is a time for a paradigm shift. We are leaving out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. We are leaving from the dark age that exists of Taurus, Aries, and Pisces into the age of the Bronze Age, which Aquarius bring on. That means a shift is happening, and that means a higher level of intelligence, a higher level of knowledge. Christ with man reigning for 1,000 years. That means mankind even his lifespan is going to change. I told one guy as I was at the beach the other day, and just walking and talking to the gentleman, and I told him, what would you like? How would you like to live 1,000 years? And he thought about it. He looked at his hand and his arm. I said, no. Not 1,000 years looking like you're 1,000 years old. 1,000 years looking like you're 35 to 40. You ever read about a near-death experienced person who went to the other side and they looked at the people and all of them, the older people, looked like they no more than 35, 40? I said, that kind of 1,000 years. He said, yes, I would love that. Well, I tell you, audience, that's what you're going to be facing, or your children are going to be facing in the very near future. Very near future. And most people don't understand that, because in the Bronze Age, man lived long. We got to understand that Noah came out of the Bronze Age into the Dark Age, and in the Bronze Age, Noah was living 800-something years building the ark. Most people think, oh, that was an old man. God in the world he could do it, him and his son. No. Noah wasn't looking 80-something years old. Noah wasn't looking no more than 35 to 40 years old. And any man 35 to 40 years old could do any kind of construction or any kind of engineering that he chooses to, that God wanted him to do, without having a problem. And we have to understand that. And then he moved into this Dark Age. Now we're coming out of the Dark Age. Now these individuals were the last ones in this nation that the King James seen in his writing that's going to be ruling at that time before we moving out of this Dark Age. And Donald Trump is the last Dark Age ruler. He's the last one. He's going to fulfill this at this year 2021. You got 21 prophecy. And what did the Revelation say? Revelation tell you about that 21 years in the 8th chapter of Revelation. It deals with that. In Revelation 8th chapter, it tells, you say, for there was silence in heaven for the space of half an hour. In the silence for heaven, in the space of half an hour, heavenly time is like 1 day to our 1,000 years. You take 48 half an hours and divide it into 1,000, that gives you roughly 21 years. And what did it say after those 21 years of event with those 7 angels? On the 7th angel, it say, but the kingdoms of this world have become the kingdom of our Lord and his Christ. That's the David time. That's why I'm showing you Barack Obama as being Saul, Donald Trump as being Saul's son, and the next one to come and reign in America is the David person, the Son of Man person. And we got to see this. That's why I didn't give Donald Trump that many more years after this, because we're going to walk right into what God put. But America got to go through a judgment. And these 21 years is part of that, but yet it got more stuff to do. It got to correct itself, because it was dealing with sacred geometry. And in sacred geometry, you count the stars. Every 45 to 50 years, you got a thing to do as a nation. And America never obeyed its jubilees. And that's a topic of another time. But America had 8 jubilees in the 400-year period of time, and not once have it obeyed it like it's supposed to. Even at the time of the emancipation, that time hit on a jubilee. And American president gave the African American a little bit of land, a little bit of this, and then later on when the next president came in, they took it back. Never did what it's supposed to do. So America got a problem that it got to correct. America got to do the jubilees, because that's what the story that Jonah was bringing to the place that was going to be like Nineveh, which is America. America got a debt, and if America don't fulfill those debts in those jubilees and take care of that, what they call, some people call it reparation. If it don't do what it's supposed to do, America's going to have a hard road ahead. But if America do what it's going to do, America be able to be as a nation on a mountaintop that cannot be hidden, with those idealisms that will come into our life and enlarge it and enrich it to make it better, fuller, and better, never to restrict it. And that's what we got to see This is what all this is trying to say. Let's get our act together. Let's make sure Donald Trump do the right thing by staying behind him, staying on him. Let's give him his room because this is his time. This is Donald Trump time. This is Donald Trump time. I'm not mad because he's in the White House. Not at all. Because he's paving the road for the next one. So let Donald Trump do his thing, stand behind him. Always remember, he's a human being. People make mistakes. So that's why you got to stand behind him. But make sure America work and help America come out of this decadence that it have gotten itself into. This bubble that it have gotten itself in. And make it great. I'm not saying make it great again because I know the sacred geometry. I know what happened. I'm going to use a term that he used, great. Make America greater than it ever been before. That's what we need to do. I'm not going to take away from his term because he used the term make America great again. It's all right. My term is take the great and make America greater than it ever been before. And I say he's on the right road, so let's don't knock him. Let's embrace the brother. If he got one table leg, you take the other table leg and hold the table up. But you need to do what you need to do to make America what it needs to be. And that's what it's all about. Get out of this Democrat-Republican bickering and think about the United States of America. And I say this with all heart. And I'd like you to purchase these books. When you get a chance, purchase this book, Judgment of America, Black Nostradamus, Prophecy of American Future. And when the next one come out, I'll let you know ahead of time. And you purchase these books and start seeing this new Christianity called Hebrew typology. And I say, like I always like to say, have a blessed day.